things like Tashara tracked you right away, and she was listening. I could tell she was listening and respecting you by watching you and actually paying attention to you. So make sure that you're being respected before you start. So you said something that seemed a little controversial. You said safe.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
I'm not trying to be funny, but like if a killer came on the bus with a gun, they'll kill everybody in the front of the bus instead of the back of the bus because they'll like take long to get to the back of the bus and tell you to get out of the emergency exit. And
Okay.
my second thing is about being special because nobody else can sit in the back with you.
Well, actually, that's not true. In fact, actually, if the space ran out in the front of the bus, whites would actually get to take up those spots and blacks would have to stand. Marcus.
I said it like they not wanting and everybody they not wanting in that country or state. Well, no, I think you gotta say it like they.
So not one in that community.
Yeah.
Okay. Carlton.
I said, if I was on the park, I will get a skateboard and hang
Stop.
on
Hang on
the
1 second. Stop. So one thing I'm actually going to stand in the back. I'm feeling like you're doing a lot of attention-seeking behaviors right now. So I'm going to stop and go stand underneath the wood after the please. I'm reminding some acres, a few acres are forgetting, like behaviors you should be exhibiting right now are trust behaviors, like end of the year trip trust. Alright? So things that you need to do to earn the end of the year trip, be trusted on end of the year trip. So we're going to go ahead and move forward. I want to show you a couple things though. Carlton, hit the lights for me, please. So obviously this lesson pushes into the Friday assessment unit test 3AP. I'm sorry, I'm about to stop this lesson because I've been doing too many redirections. It's enough. I should not have to stop so that people can have silly off-gas conversations. Stop it. Those of you who are doing the right thing, thank you. Now I want to show you something. That's interesting. So this is from the AP US History Scoring Guidelines. And I want you to look up here, especially about this Martin Luther King Jr. stuff right here. Rose to prominence in Montgomery bus boycott. This is actually one of the effects that we're going to talk about today. So something specifically we're going to be talking about today, you're going to need to know when you take AP US History in high school. So keep that in mind. Alright. So let's talk about what it was like in Montgomery. And I'll talk specifically about expectations. Make sure, again, you're totally focused on the slides. You're doing your best to keep up. You're not having side conversations. So there was formal segregation all over the city in Montgomery. So that means that blacks and whites were separated in all areas. So I'm going to talk specifically about how blacks, African Americans, can you, is she solving a conflict right now? Okay. So not only did blacks have to sit on the back of the bus, but when they would get on the bus, they would pay at the front. So they'd have to go in the front door, pay the driver, get off the bus, go around to the back, and enter on the back. And you can guess what happened a lot of times. Was drivers would, as soon as they pay, they'd drive off. In fact, that happened to Rosa Parks as well. In fact, the story that she tells was the exact same driver that she was on the bus with when she refused to get her receipt was the same driver who at one point, she was standing in the rain, got on the bus, paid, got back off to get on the back, and he drove off on her. Just so you know, like, she's very close to sitting with me. Go stand in the back, please. No. Can you go tell Ms. Contra that it's, like, DePaul is not calm right now, and we cannot. This is too disruptive right now, okay? Angela, DePaul's too disrupted right now. Carlton, stand in the back. Alright. So there was the front section, the larger section was for whites only, the back section was for African Americans. They actually would have to give up, if they ran out of room in the white section, would have to give up their seats and stand if the whites didn't have enough space. Now, one thing that's interesting is 75% of all riders on these buses in Montgomery were black. The majority of riders on these buses were black, yet they were treated like inferior. All right, so let's talk about the organization that sprung up to fight this injustice. So, Martin Luther King Jr., who was from Atlanta, moved to Montgomery. He was a young preacher. He was 26 years old. And he joined this organization called Montgomery Improvement Association. So a group of basically black ministers in Montgomery and black leaders got together and said enough is enough. Yes, there's segregation, but this is making it particularly difficult for us to get to our jobs, to feel like we're people of dignity. They were, in fact, at the very beginning of the boycott, they were like, this is not even separate but equal. They were almost willing to compromise whether it was separate but equal, but it wasn't. So they quickly elected MLK as their president, and he helped to lead the boycott effort. This started about 3 or 4 days after Rosa Parks had chose to be arrested. So this Montgomery Improvement Association kind of sprung up around her incident. They called for a boycott. They didn't know if it was going to be a permanent boycott. After a few days, they said, okay, this boycott is going to be permanent. Saw it there again. It's a very good question. So Martin Luther King, when he lived in Chicago, did come and live right across the street. That's why the housing.